from the New Connections project, how have you applied your learning?
So one of the things that we did in the New Connections project was the last two sessions we ran totally ourselves, and we had to plan them. We were given guidance and support during that process, and that was really useful coming back into the class this year, running our own project because we had to plan all the sessions ourselves. Um, on top of that, we were taught how to conduct as well, um, which is quite a useful skill when you're trying to lead a load of year sixes, singing or playing. Um, so yeah.
We definitely, this project wouldn't have been possible, and the whole of Goldfinch wouldn't have been possible without the training that we got from the project, as it gave us so many good skills and games. We got lots of big things, like we got lots of big games and the main things, but I think also just the small details of how James would teach certain bits of music or teach certain rhythms or introduce music to the kids was really useful. With the Goldfinch project, we've taken like the same structure that we had from the New Connections and brought that into this project that we've just done. Even the name we got from the class, because they've got two classes, and that first year they were the Goldfinch class. But yeah, just the whole structure of the sessions, like having six for 2 hours and working up to a concert, and then we ended up getting in like mishmash band from the conservatoire to support them. And I think we wouldn't have had that idea ourselves for sure, or know that how it would work in practice.
So, with the Goldfinch project that you've gone on to do, what has been the biggest challenges and successes of the project so far?
I think the biggest challenge personally was we did lots of work before going into the school in the first place. We'd sort of planned how every session would look. We'd applied for funding, and in that funding application, we put sort of all the session plans and what we'd get done every week. And then we went into the school on the first session and very quickly realised that that was all going to have to be rewritten. Um, so yeah, that was a big challenge, sort of adapting the plan as we went rather than just having a set, solid plan the whole way through. But we did it, so that's a success. The children composed two original pieces. That was pretty epic. And they performed them fantastically. And we've been asked to come back, so success.
The challenge of the unknown of working week by week and not really knowing what you're going to go in and see and what progress will be made in the week was a big challenge, because it meant we had to plan week by week, and we had to really we had some we had some very stressful nights the night before some workshops, being like, what are we going to do? Also, I composed the score to the instrumental piece. It's the first bit of composition I've ever really done. So it was a big challenge trying to incorporate what the kids were going to be doing with some professional musicians from the conservatoire, and making sure that everyone could come together like harmoniously in a piece, which turned out well. But it was a big challenge getting to that point. My biggest challenge was suddenly stood in front of 40 kids and being a bit tired and going, oh, what was I going to say, or what was I going to do? And I feel like they really pick up on your energy. So if you're not quite sure what you're going to do, they're like, oh, I'm not quite listening, or I'm not quite going to follow. So I feel like watching James and other music leaders, and they've got so much experience with like, oh, I've had this group of kids acting in a certain way before, so I've brought this game before, and then this happens, and I feel like I don't have a million games in my head that I've used in every single circumstance, so I felt a bit like rabbit in a headlights. And especially composing music with them, and that also really has to be like, we have to be so clear on what we're doing to get the most from them, otherwise communication gets confusing. But yeah, we did it. We wrote 3 songs and we performed them, and the school were very happy with them. So, and we had a lot of mini successes throughout the whole journey. Like one week we went in and I was teaching the toots, and they got this melody straight away perfectly. And I think the joy that the kids would bring and the passion that they would bring to each lesson powered us on through all the planning and all the projects.
And I'll follow on from that. There are a lot of things that we tried for the first time ourselves, and we sort of didn't know how they were going to work. and going into the school, for instance, we were writing rhythms with them, and we were trying to think of ways we could sort of approach composing with them in that sense. And we used the natural rhythm of speaking. So we wrote some little stories and then explored how our voices naturally have rhythms, and then put those to drums. And that was really cool because that also gave sections to the instrumental piece. For instance, like they wrote a sentence about a blossom tree, so that's the blossom tree section that grew. Um, and that was really, really nice to see when that came together, because we sort of didn't know how things like that would work.